Greetings, good people. Another week, lots of fun things going on. Today, I'm looking forward to having a conversation about something that I consider to be very important, the topic of confidence. And in order to get things rolling, I have a guest.
Thank you.
Who are you?
I'm Jacques-Philippe. I'm strong, fast, efficient, amazing, a musician, Pirate Team Jock, and that's who I am.
Thank you very much for joining us today. So the special guest we had, that was my son, Jacques-Maxime, and what he shared with you, those are considered positive affirmations of oneself, and he says that almost every day. And literally earlier today, which led me to want to have this quick chat, I was looking at a poem that he wrote recently, and the topic, the headline of his poem was the super duper duper amazing someone, aka Jacques-Maxime, right? Now this is an 8-year-old and who knows where that's gonna go, but I like the direction. If we look at our society, right, whether it's a business leader, a political leader, civil society leader, entertainers, they tend to carry themselves with a certain level of confidence, which inspires confidence in others as they follow and participate in whatever the leader is doing. So typically when I think of confidence, I break it up in two categories. There's intrinsic and extrinsically motivated, right? So part of what Jacques-Maxime showed was the intrinsic, and that's where you really hone in on yourself, you congratulate yourself for small wins, and you make sure that you appreciate the little things that you do every day. And the more that we do this, it bleeds into all that we do, and we start having a greater sense of self. The other being the extrinsic, I tend to believe it doesn't have as much value deep down. However, it is something that we can help others with, right? So by virtue of us noticing the small things that people do or big things and congratulating them and being supportive. And I think it's especially important that we focus on the process and the habits that people and ourselves have that lead to positive outcomes, and positive outcomes in and of themselves, the more we have them, the more confident we become. So what does that mean? That means you see someone who broke the record in the 100-meter dash. Instead of saying, great job breaking the record in the 100-meter dash, it's more compelling and it will have more impact on their confidence if you tell them, wow, it's really impressive how you trained for the last 2 years every day incessantly in order to continuously bring your time down to eventually break the record. Because there, you're congratulating the process, and that is something that can be replicated, and that is something that the person has control over, which brings us to the other point. So if you think about what I just said, a large part of confidence, especially at the intrinsic level, comes down to feeling that a person can accomplish an outcome or an objective that they set for themselves. And so what often happens there, which leaves us feeling vapid, is we set objectives that are outside the realm of what's achievable. I'm one of the biggest people for doing that. I love having huge goals, which are just potentially slightly outside the realm of what is totally possible. But what I've learned to do over the years is restructure how I measure success such that I can still be successful within that journey. Right? So again, instead of, like right now, I'm building an enterprise which is meant to disrupt the brokerage side of the real estate market called Realisticity, right? And we want to go big, right? The next 3 to 5 years, I want to be in every major market. I want us to be the #1 provider of that service. I want us to have, $1 billion plus top line, 90% operating margin, and a super ecstatic team that just loves every day that we're in the office, right? That's massive. If I were going to wait for 3 to 5 years to feel successful in that objective, then it wouldn't necessarily feed my confidence and allow me to continue growing. However, what I've learned to do is break down the larger objectives into bite sizes that I actually have control over. So what do I have control over? I have control over the fact that I'm going to wake up early every day. I'm going to have small plans of what's achievable in the next week, month, quarter. I'm going to work diligently in order to achieve those objectives. I'm going to bring the team along, and we're going to enjoy the entire process. And ultimately, it comes down to my putting 100% of myself into that objective, right? So literally every day, I feel like I'm a little bit more confident than I was the last day. And that's really what I want to share with you, right? And I know oftentimes people hear confidence and they mistake it for cockiness, right? And so to me, the difference between confidence and cockiness is that confidence is about believing in oneself, but not at the expense of others. Whereas cockiness is a relative term, right? It's where someone has an inflated ego and they believe themselves to be better than others. And it's actually the opposite of confidence, right? So cockiness typically means there's a lack of confidence, and the only way that we're able to show that we're successful is by doing so at the expense of someone else. And that is definitely not what I'm about. It's not what I would profess. And I'm interested, so I put this out there. I know there are certain parts of what I said that can definitely use some further teasing and some conversation. So I'd be interested in getting your take on the topic of confidence and how we could continue moving that conversation forward. Thank you.